is one of my favorite days. Of course, we have to start with highlights of the Super Bowl. Yes, I am from New England, spent many years in New England, so of course I am a diehard fan of the Patriots. Yes, they did not meet expectation. They got whooped. Hey, I have to admit it. Yes, we lost, but next year we're coming back for you guys. Yes. So anyway, so let's think about this. The Super Bowl, the biggest event in the NFL, in the sports of football, right? And they spent a whole year leading to one game. A whole year is centered to one game. Millions of dollars are spent, right? Almost like between 3 to 500 million dollars are spent, right, in the area where the Super Bowl is normally held, right? Commercials, let's not talk about commercials. Cost millions, tens of millions of dollars for a 30-second commercial spot, right? And that takes planning. So think about this for a moment. A brand spends millions of dollars to capture attention of over, 60 million people, like 60 million fans. Hello, Josh, how you doing? 60 million fans during the Super Bowl spent millions of dollars, right, for the halftime alone. So I got to thinking, you may not have millions to invest, but what kind of planning are you doing for your family? The NFL plans the whole year for that one, right? 2.5 hours, 3 hours show. What are you planning? How do you plan to live your life? The second phase of your life, when you say you want to retire, right? So are you planning to win or to lose? And we know, of course, in the NFL, whether you win or lose, you still get paid, right? You may not get paid the same amount, right? But at least each player or everyone associated with the team will walk away with at least 100K, right? 150K for the winning team. So let's look at this. How do we plan? What would be the true definition of planning? Is having control, right? The NFL, they planned, they controlled every step, every move, right? Bad Bunny did what he had to do, but that was planning. They controlled it, right? So it's the same thing with financial planning. Financial planning can be sometimes scary or complicated, or we think it's complicated, but it's not. It's a matter, thank you, it's a matter of having control over your finances, over how you want to live your life, your family, right? So again, they studied every move, every play was calculated, right? To some extent, right? Until you fumble the ball, I'm sure it's not calculated or planned to fumble any balls, but every plan, every move is calculated. So how are you living your life? What are you doing to plan for your family? Not only when you pass, but when you are still living, right? Because financial planning is not about dying, it's about living, right? So now let me tell you a story about two families. Hello, Jackie. Thank you for logging in. Two families that I had to sit down with, right? They were not big earners. They were not high net worth earners, but one family They took the information that I gave them, one, set up a comprehensive plan when the kids were young, because college planning start when they are young, not when they're 16, 17, or when they're heading to college, right? Because we see 56% of kids who have enrolled in college, in school, they did not finish their degree because of lack of finances. And we have to attribute that to families' lack of planning, not taking control of their kids' college education. Again, it starts when they're young. We are in tax season. What are you doing with the money if you have kids? What are you doing with the money, with the credit, with the tax credit that the government is giving you? This is a great opportunity for you to set up something, set up a savings, set up a life insurance plan that gives you cash value for your kids that they can leverage, right? The informed, the elite, they do what is called leveraging. What are you leveraging to set up for your kids' college? There are multiple plans that you can set up. So you have to choose the one that best fits you, right? So I have the one family set up plan for their kids. Again, they didn't make a lot of money, but they understood the importance, right, of setting up something, of having something if life happens, when life happens, right? Because we know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we get sick. You have to ask yourself, what do you have as an income replacement if you get sick, right? You can leverage a strategy to pay your bills, to pay your medical bills when you get sick. That's what we call living benefits. So you have to think, if you are an entrepreneur, you only have one income. You don't have anyone else to depend on. You are the plan. What do you have to replace your income if you are unable to go to work? So this family, I shared all of this information with them. They took my advice and set up a plan in place, right? So, and then dad got sick, I think within a year. Guess what? They didn't have to start a GoFundMe for him because he had a plan in place, not only to help him while he was sick, because guys, one session of chemo was about $50K. Your health insurance, there's a limit that they're going to pay for you. You know, on average, you need 6 to 8 rounds of chemo. So guess what? If you don't have a plan B that can cover those costs, guess what? You have to apply for Medicaid, then you have to qualify, you have to use all of your funds, reduce them to $2,000. You have to basically become dirt poor. Not only below the poverty level, but you have to become destitute in order for Medicaid to kick in. But guess what? Yes, we couldn't save him. He passed. But the family called me, the wife called me and thanked me because she said she didn't know what she would have done if she didn't have a plan in place. Again, I come on every day and share this with you guys. I know this is not for everybody. I am not talking to everybody, but this is for someone who want a solopreneur who doesn't have a plan B when life happens. That even if you have savings, how far the savings gonna get you? You have to stop and think. If you are unable to work, how far your savings can take you. But when you have a plan that has living benefits, and those living benefits are critical, chronic, and terminal illness. When you have a diagnosis of critical, chronic, terminal illness, there are a lot of plans that says they have living benefits and they only offer terminal illness. Terminal illness is when you have stage 4 cancer and they give you a couple weeks, they give you, 6 months or less to live. But many times you are getting diagnoses that can be treated. Terminal illness is not going to cover that. If you have early stage of cancer, which we consider as critical, cancer, stroke, heart attack, that's not covered under terminal illness. So you have to have a plan that you can tap into critical illness just by having a diagnosis. That will help you get through your treatments. Again, if you have a plan and you do not know what it covers, DM me ready so that I can give you a free policy review. Okay? And now let's look at the second family. They did what most people do. They meant to look at their finances, but they got too busy. Life get in the way, right? They assume that the employer, the insurance that the employer provide to them, would be able to, first, enough to cover in death. If you work for a company that gives you $100K in death benefit, it is a death benefit, death insurance, because you have to die on the job many times, right? You have to be actively employed for it to pay. But most employers give you $50K. If you have kids, can that pay for their college tuition? Can that even pay for your funeral? Your debts, when you pass away, they do not go away with you. Your family have to pay for those. Your estate taxes. Listen, there are two things that are guaranteed: taxes and death. So you have to pay for your estate tax. Again, that second family, keep postponing my appointments, and they were just too busy. They didn't make it a priority to put a plan in place. Guess what? When the wife passed, they had to do a GoFundMe for her. Dad struggled to keep the house. They had a mortgage. The employer benefits did not cover the mortgage. So you have to ask yourself, again, if you are someone, a family, if you have a family, you have to ask yourself, what will be the impact that when you are no longer here, what will be the impact on your family? Because we see two incomes still not enough, let alone one. If you are the breadwinner for your family, what will be the impact when you are no longer here? Again, everybody was watching the game, right? Big game. There were some winners and some losers, right? We planned, like I have a friend, she spent over $1,000 in, getting that party ready. They killed a goat, it's like beautiful party, right? But only a fraction of American families proactively structure their finances. Which group do you want to belong to? The one that structured, the one that plans for their family's finances, or the ones that wait when chaos happens and then it's too late? So I really hope nobody's watching or listening is part of that group where they think that they have time. Again, there are two teams of the field as well. The team that prepared and the team that procrastinate. You have to pick which one you want to be in, right? The one that prepares, invest time and resources before crisis strike. They understand that a plan isn't just a piece of paper, it's a promise to their family. A promise showing them that how much they love them. Having a strategy, having that family structure means that you love your family. That's what it means. You love your family too much to leave them in chaos. Then the one that procrastinate, hopes nothing goes wrong. Hope, guys, is not a strategy. Do not hope for that health, guaranteed health. Don't hope that when life happens that you're going to have time to get it done. Well, I'll get it later. I'll get it when my finances are better. No, that's a plan for everyone. That's why, as a financial broker, I'm able to offer multiple strategies to families. I'm able to meet you where you at. If your finances can only afford a term with living benefits, guys, many of my clients, they use the living benefits before they attach to use the cash. Because the stats show us that one out of three American living in the US will be diagnosed with cancer. Stroke, then get split 50-50. If you have two people, at least one of them will get a stroke. So again, you have to ask yourself, when you find yourself in that position where you have a diagnosis, how is your family going to survive? They still have to maintain their lifestyle. The kids, they still want to do that extracurriculum activity. The mortgage, they're not going to wait for you to get better to get back to work. So again, if you don't have a plan, well, if you have a plan that you don't know what it covers, DM me, reach out to me. I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. Message me ready to have your policy reviewed or to get you on the team, on the ready team, on the prepared team. Again, if we look at the game yesterday, can we say one was really prepared to win and the other one not so much, right? DM me ready if you want to put a plan in place for your family. Again, there are those who will take the message and say, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm good. Yeah, my family will figure it out. Or, hey, I have time. The Robinson family thought they had time, but they did not. They did not have time. So don't sit around and not make any plans for your family. Yet millions are being spent on commercials, on halftime, right? They made plans to pay their players, whether you lose or win. But that will not be the case